my dear Taurus. This is your love and spirituality reading for the month of July 2018 with me, Queen of Cups Tarot. I read for the signs in the order of most liked videos, so don't forget to hit the thumbs up button for your sign. The reading can go both ways, so if I tell you that you are feeling or acting in a certain way, it can be in the reverse, that the person you are dealing with is feeling and acting in that way. The energy is the same, it's just different castings to the different roles by the universe. So for this reading, I will use the Druid Craft Tarot by Philip and Stephanie Cargome, illustrated by Will Worthington. So when I open your deck here, I see Prince of Wands and Princess of Swords. Oh, that seems very interesting. Princess of Wands is usually Sagittarius energy, and Princess of Swords is energy of truth. So it can be someone that's feeling very convinced about talking the truth. And it might be that the divine wants to convince yourself about saying something that is very important, but might be hard to say. Okay. So Prince of Wands is coming from the east to the people in the west with new knowledge, and Princess of Swords kind of have the same thing. It's just that she's a little bit shy, so she usually doesn't say what it is that she sees. Okay. And the Princess of Swords, she's also very young, so she needs your older archetypes to help her voice her concerns. Okay, so I call the divine with love and light, and here we have Eight of Pentacles with the Prince of Wands. So here it can really happen wonderful things if the person has a kind of good intentions. Prince of Wands and Eight of Pentacles is very creative forces, these two cards together. This is a beautiful willingness to do the work, and this is kind of the energy to do the work. And with the Princess of Swords, like the Page of Swords, it might be like John the Ark has a mission to do, a work to do, and has the energy to do it. So it's very sparkling here, very high vibrating. Okay, so I call the four archangels in the four corners of the world, and I see the Six of Cups with Prince of Wands. So Six of Cups is can be reconciliation. It can be it can also be talking about your childhood or past lives, or nostalgia, like being nostalgic about a house where you lived when you were young, or a person from the past. So it might be that someone wants to come through with a message to you, and maybe a Sagittarius or another fire sign, or a person that's very convinced that they can fix this, work this out with you. And with the Six of Cups, they most certainly have also the feelings, like the emotional attachment to you and the situation. It might be you as well that wants to maybe make peace with someone. Maybe you want to sort out old mistakes, and try to fix things and have another go at things. Okay, so I call the six elements: earth, wind, fire, water, spirit, and ether to join us here today and to give us a clear view reading for my dear Taurus viewers. So I want my dear Taurus, we have the Six of Pentacles there and the Ferret. So it's something cooking, something being baked, something needs to be balanced. Something needs to, I'm feeling a certain feeling here, so I will try to identify it and put words to it. It's like a wise person keeping their cool in a situation that's, and it feels like a person is very warm and generous, but they also see kind of the problems that might be in the situation, so they are keeping them. It's like when a child says, I want to tie my own shoes, and you let them tie their own shoes, and it's no problem, but when they are going to walk in those shoes, they might trip and fall. So you need to, in some very diplomatic way, tell them to maybe do it a little bit better. Maybe you can stick that thread inside the shoe a little bit there, so you don't step on it when we are walking out to the car or the bicycle, okay? So it's that kind of feeling, like someone knows that this person needs to, maybe don't have all the knowledge, like it was a page and a knight, so it's a very young person but very enthusiastic. So someone is very enthusiastic, and maybe the other energy is kind of being enthusiastic for them, but not maybe fully believing in the results. Okay, so that's the best way I can interpret those feelings. So I want my dear Taurus to have love in their lives and to find themselves in loving relationships. I also want you to have creative success and to be able to walk on your highest path towards your highest destiny. Okay, so I will just tune in for a few seconds here to you and your reading. Okay, so Taurus, July 2018. Time goes very quickly. Okay, so this is your future there, and this is your now there, and this is the past. So in the past we have the Four of Wands. So Four of Wands can be a very good self-image, like nothing can really rock your world. It's again the same feeling, like this person being very warm, generous, stable, but have their boundaries and knows where you end and the other person begins. You see, it's no walls around this, it's still boundaries, because they are stated with the power of that person, the soul's power of that person. No, or yes, or maybe, or no, this is not going to be like this, we are going to do it like this. So Four of Wands, I'm thinking it's probably this, that Taurus have been working very hard on self-love, and finally you found like a place of self-acceptance, and now you don't need to feel so worried when integrating with other people. It's like you have calmed down. Okay, you trust yourself more, you accept yourself more, and therefore you don't take maybe what other people do, even if they are a little bit immature. You don't take it personally, and you see their efforts, and maybe you try to you want the best for this person or this entity, but in the same way you're also looking out for yourself here and for the one that's closest to you. This might also be a very intense love relationship, maybe with one person or both being a little bit immature, and there might be coming in like a proposal, or someone is going to ask you, or this is in the past, but for some of you watching in June, this might be happening now. So someone might come to you with a proposal of friendship or love or marrying, something like this, because the Four of Wands is traditionally the marrying card, buying a house, or celebrating something, celebrating that the harvest went well. But what I'm feeling here is this this warmth again, like this very stable warmth. Okay, so this wise person having this outlook, but and feeling like unconditional love for people. Also, when they don't have the same level of wisdom, maybe. I'm trying to be diplomatic here, okay? So, and here in the now, we have the Eight of Cups. So Eight of Cups is when we have this warm and generous attitude towards someone, and they are still not getting it, like they are still... and then we need to take some other example than this... children with their shoe. It's like when you have given your friend or your partner, your lover, your family member a second chance, and you have shown yourself like, this is my boundary, this is healthy, here we can interact, and they still don't get it. Okay, it's like maybe a person doesn't fully understand you, and you try to make yourself understandable. But maybe it's just that this person doesn't have this level of understanding that they can see the things that you see. They need to have more experience first before they can they can get it. Okay. So 8 of Cups is when someone doesn't listen to our boundaries and we need to walk away. It's not forever. 8 of Cups is like a boomerang. So it might be that some of you is in on and off again relationship. Sometimes you're together and sometimes you're not. Sometimes everything is fine and you kind of live in this relationship with this person and having a little bit, it's like you take the role of being the bigger person, and then they do something that's not, you can't tolerate it, so you need to walk away. Or it might be a very flaky person, like someone loves you one day and are gone the next day, and you might not understand, and you think they are flaky, but maybe they are this warm, generous person that's kind of just endures how you are dealing with them. Okay, so it can be in different ways. And here we have the future, and it's 9 of Wands. So it seems like before you had a more generous attitude towards this person or this circumstance or this, like in this situation. But now the wands are increasing. Here it more looks like a wall. This is really like a line in the sand. It's here and not further. So 4, 8, 9. And this person is wounded also. That's why they walked away. So if you think that a person is flaky or maybe disappearing or ghosting you, it's probably because they have been hurt in a way. Maybe that they don't want to communicate. With the Page of Swords, it seems like they want to communicate, but maybe they can't understand the communication that has gone on back and forth between you two. 9 of Wands, 9 is connected to the Hermit. So it's like withdrawing and maybe licking your wounds a little bit and saying, no, you won't come any further than this. 9 of Wands. The 4 of Wands is probably, what I felt with this energy is probably a person trying to avoid it coming to this. Okay. It's like trying to still be in the relationship, but here you can't. It's like you have become wounded and traumatized and mistreated so many times. So eventually you start to mistrust this person and you kind of expect the same thing over and over again. It's probably right, since we have the 8 of Cups over and over again thing here. Probably you were supposed to learn to that you also sometimes need to you can't always hold this warm, generous energy, because sometimes people doesn't get it. Okay, they just don't get it, and you need to use more than just your unconditional love. We can take this story with the child in the store that wants candy, and you can be warm and generous and tell them that no, we are not eating candy today, and candy is not good for your body. It's doing this and this to your body, and we can buy some fruit you like instead. Okay, very boring, of course, poor child, yes. But the child gets like a big tantrum and is not going to leave the store until they get sugar. Probably they should have eaten before going to the store. Often in Sweden, the stores put up fruit for the children so that they won't have these tantrums in the store. But this time it happened. And this time the parent says, okay, we're leaving the store now, and we won't buy the things we needed, and we won't buy the candy, because obviously you are not feeling very well and we need to go home. Okay, so that's more like, okay, we can't negotiate here. We need to put a firm boundary. This ends now. Okay, here, now. So, and you go back to the store later and finding a babysitter, and the child has been fed properly. Okay, so, and here is the past, and we have the moon. So the moon shows that even when there was this 4 of Wands, like this stable relationship, there was still things going on underneath the surface that was a little bit fishy, or you couldn't really understand what it was, or you couldn't put the finger on it, like, what is it? Something feels off. And it's your subconscious warning you for a certain situation and telling you that something is going on, okay, underneath the surface, and pay attention. And it can be very unsettling, because you feel that something is wrong, but you don't know what. And sometimes we just need to accept that we have the feeling but not the knowing, and we need to ask for clarification, like, please help me understand what it is that I'm not seeing clear here. What is it that I'm not being fully aware of? For example, in this child in the store situation, the parent might not have been aware of the child being having low blood sugar, so they wanted candy, and they just felt like the child was impossible. But here it's like they're feeling something is off, but they can't put the finger on it. And later, next day, they remember, yes, of course, this is how I feel when I'm in the store and we haven't eaten. Then I want to buy everything in the store. So eureka. But this is, of course, probably much more serious than this. It might be someone doing something that feels awful, but you can't really pinpoint it at them, because you don't see exactly what it is that they are doing. So they are doing some kind of manipulation that you might be blind for. Maybe because you have, this is again the moon, it's past life, it might be childhood traumas, things like this, projections, patterns. So it might be like an old pattern. We are usually pairing ourselves up with people that's perfect for our wound. So if we have, for example, a parent that was a little bit like a martyr, or had tendency to be narcissistic or emotionless, or whatever. So we probably will find friends that's acting in the same way and are triggering us in the same way. And it's because we are supposed to learn to see this, that this is not okay. And in the beginning, you won't see it. You will just feel like, well, something feels off, but I don't know why. This person is acting like totally accordingly to my my social culture and tradition. Like, this is what I'm used to. Why am I upset? It's the divine's way and the universe way to help you to find out what's right and what's wrong through your emotions, the feeling of it all. Okay. And here we have the Seven of Swords. So Seven of Swords together with the moon is the most obvious interpretation is someone is lying to you. Someone is lying to you into your face. But the more deep thing is that this person is doing so because they think they need to do this to get what they want. So the child in the story is manipulating you in some way and trying to fool you that maybe the other parent has promised them candy this day or something like this. So so it might be, for example, a person that wants love, but they don't know how to get love. They only know how to manipulate a person to give them love. They don't know how to do it for real, like in a real commitment. You just feel that something is off, but they are manipulating you so good, so that you think that they are right and you are wrong. Okay, and this is kind of the situation that I see. And here we have the Strength. So this is the Four of Wands. It's the situation where we kind of marry ourselves and decides, like, if something feels wrong, it's wrong. I'm not going to fight you. But something is off here, and you kind of just start to say that I feel something is off. It's I know that you're asking me to go to you on this party, but it feels like you want to enforce me to do so. Okay, yeah, it feels like you want to trick me into doing so instead of just asking nicely. And here you hold a rather firm and stubborn energy to kind of, you don't want to fight this person. You don't want to make them feel more pain, because maybe you have this understanding that this person have a certain pattern that's not like to their own fault. Like if you were born in this family underneath these circumstances, you would be the same. You would act in the same way. You will think that love is in this way, but now you have this other perspective, and you're seeing that this is not healthy, and this is probably not something you want to be a part of. So we see that you are leaving here in this next situation. And remember also that it can be in the other way for you cross watchers. The Taurus that I'm reading for is probably a little bit more like enlightened than the general population. So that's why they probably is the person that holds this warmth and this unconditional love. But if you are cross-watching, it might be that you are dealing with a Taurus that not particularly evolved and haven't really looked into like the patterns of their life. So they are just repeating them endlessly without ever thinking about it, just wondering every time what went wrong, but not really penetrate deeply into that question because they are afraid of the answer. So they don't want to, it feels uncomfortable, forget about it. So it's just different ways of dealing with problems. One wants to solve the problem with their patterns and go very deeply into solving them and finding out, being curious, and the other person isn't curious. They don't just want to go on with their life. Forget the freaking like personal growth thingy. Okay, so that's my best explanation for that. So, and here you have a Queen of Cups, and it comes underneath the moon. So both the moon and Queen of Cups is connected to Cancer. We can see that she's having a foot down in the water and holding the moon here. So it's obviously a person that listens to these warnings from her intuition, her feelings. Okay, you have warned me, so now I'm here, I'm listening. I'm trying to really feel what it is that's off here in this situation. I'm really trying to sense what is going on. So a person here is, of course, in a deep spiritual and personal growth spiral. 18 moon is 1 + 8 is 9, so it's connected to the Hermit, and this is the Queen of Cups that's very intuitive. So it seems like you're listening very closely to your intuition, and this is probably going to help you to solve this and to know what's what. Because when you really turn every rock to find the answer, it will come to you. Okay. So, Queen of Cups. And next card here, central, is the King of Pentacles. So King of Pentacles is, of course, you, and it comes underneath the Seven of Swords here. So it's also showing that Taurus have this problem with self-esteem, and that's probably why you are such a good match to this other energy that wants to manipulate you, maybe. So the Seven of Swords and the King of Pentacles shows like a lack of self-esteem. You kind of know your self-worth, but in the same way you have areas where you're still very touchy-feely. And it might be words. It says that, let's see here, something with sticks and stone can break my bones. But this with words, okay, they hurt. They really hurt, okay. And I'm thinking this is your area of weakness, that you might either overreact to one person's word because you think that they have so much power over you, even though you are this safe, this person that's so safe in this situation. You feel that these words has power over you. So this is your weak spot, like a situation where you might overreact to what the person says inside of you, okay, and feel that it's maybe it's like an internal struggle I'm feeling, where you think that they are right, but you get very sad about this, and it feels unjust, and you're getting like unbalanced, okay. But this King of Pentacles is a very good card. It shows that you have the ability to build this castle for yourself, that you can be much more calm and cool and not get things like this to get to you, because it's just words. It doesn't it doesn't have to be personal. Okay, it can be that this person said some. It's so we don't know what's going on in another person's life. So if like one person can be very unsettled by certain words, and the person that says them, for them this doesn't mean anything. I know from my when my daughter grew up that my sister used to call her, see here if I can remember exact words. Well, I don't remember exact words, but let's say it was, oh, my little huggy rat. Okay, and my daughter thought this to be a very good word. One day she said it to her best friend, oh, my little huggy rat. And the best friend didn't talk to her for, I think it went over a month before she forgave her for these words. Okay, so one word that has like a good load to one, like a good energy to one person might have a real bad energy to another person. And this is kind of what I'm feeling here with the Seven of Swords. It's one explanation, but the biggest explanation is that Taurus have not a very good confidence, okay, with the Seven of Swords. So you don't believe that you are worthy. Okay. And next card here is the Hangman. So strength and the Hangman and the Eight of Cups. So it seems like there might be a pause among people here. I said reconciliation in the beginning, so I'm not certain if this is going to come here, or if it might have been like an attempt of reconciliation here to keep the relationship, but here it seems like it's off again in that case, if that's the timing with this. But usually the readings end and start, like they start in the same way that they will end. So usually the first card that comes also being tied together in the last cards that comes for some reason. I don't know why it's like this. But this seems like a person walking away and then the situation is blocked. It's like nothing you can do. It's blocked. The Hangman. It was a harvest going on, maybe a attempt to reconciliation or to take the next level in a relationship or to sort things out. But now we are back to not square one exactly, but to a situation where there's a blockage and nothing is really happening. But the good thing is that the Hangman is kind of a patience card, that something needs to develop here. It's like a baby growing in the womb of a person, or someone needs to have a couple of years to mature. It can also be that a person needs to go through a certain experience that might be heartbreaking or very difficult or fearful to come to a certain knowledge. So with the Hangman, it's 12 connected to number 3, the Empress. So it's like a pregnancy. So something is going to mature out of this, but it might be unsettling during the process, like uncomfortable. Or the Hangman is also about sacrifices. The next card is death. So the Hangman always asks you to sacrifice something. I don't know exactly what this is in this situation. We'll see if we will get something more, maybe from the oracle cards, what it is that you need to sacrifice. We have strength here, so strength might be Leo. It might be that you're sacrificing a Leo person. We also saw the Sagittarius energy, Page of Swords, Knight of Wands. Might be a person coming into your life. And something is happening here with the projections and patterns and things. Here people are not like entirely speaking with each other. So it might be a Cancer or a Leo that you're dealing with. Might be any sign, just that maybe the other person is a very passionate person, like dramatic or passionate in some way. Okay. So this is your future, and here we have the Princess of Pentacles. The Prince of Pentacles is a good card again. It's about self-acceptance, accepting the person that you were when you came, accepting the feelings you have, the personality you have, everything. So that is kind of what leads back to Four of Wands. We get a very good self-confidence if we just love ourselves for who we are. If you were born this way, I bet God didn't make any mistakes. You were supposed to be born and have exactly this personality. So go with it. Try to find your strength and weaknesses and use them as best as you can. We can, for example, be born with an awful temperament, and it can be used for good. For example, protecting children from being bullied at school. And that was what God intended with having you born in this way. So there's always a way to deal with this. And we can see the moon in these two cards, and here's this Pentacles. So it's like a person going in and really study their emotions, study their reactions, study what they are feeling. So that this will lead to true wisdom when a person do like this. When they take away the obstacles that prevent them from seeing things like guilty feelings or bad consciousness or anything, they can just see things for what they are without like dramatically engage in this situation. And here we have this Feralt. So the Feralt is talking about two opposite forces that need to be mixed together to become like a third entity. So it's this with two different cultures meeting, battling, emerging, and then there's a new culture being born, something that's even more bright and smart than the two original cultures, because with this it becomes like an ignition, and it's born a third entity, so the Holy Trinity. So we're always trying to do this. We are meeting like our shadow, battling towards them, and then we integrate our shadow, and the shadow integrates the light. So we become more than we were before. If we were just light or just darkness, we now are light and darkness. So we are 100% more than we were before. Okay, so the Feralt is like a scientific journey. It's also a loving journey. So it can be being very attracted to something or having a very strong dream about something. So you're being pulled in a certain direction, and it's going to lead you to these discoveries that was already worked on profoundly here. So these two is like a scientific brain trust. This is the student, and this is the student maybe growing up, finding more solutions, seeing more things, understanding more things, integrating more of their own shadow. So all these cards in this reading is you. So this is different parts of you. You have one archetype that might be like dealing a lot with shadows and projections and are touchy-feely and overdramatic maybe, and you have another side to you that's very warm and generous and stable. So every card here, I'm talking about other people, but every card is still you. Somewhere it's still you. It's you that's being mirrored out in the world. So I'm sorry for the lighting. So fixed. Okay. Yes, and the last card here is the Six of Swords. So it seems like we are on a journey to understanding things better. So if you have someone that kind of rubs you the wrong way, or they really feel like maybe you think that they are insane or is not a very smart person or whatever, they are rubbing you this wrong way, so you can see your own problems. Okay, so you can see your own shadows, your own wounds, your own traumas. So maybe you thought in the beginning that you were like the person that did the learning the learning to another person, like teaching them to tie their shoe, but really we are all being both teachers and students. So this person might be doing something that they unconsciously, they don't know that they are going to hurt you and you feeling like this, or they are doing this with purpose. It might be this also, like they want to manipulate you. They have this agenda to manipulate you and get something out of you. Either way, they are going to teach you something that's very important. This is Six of Swords, so it's like heart and thought reunited, and it's also like your subconscious is being united with your conscious. So you're being aware what's in the shadows, what's in the water, what in your subconscious here. So this is going to lead to more wisdom for you, and you are going to see things much more clearer. And Six of Swords is also like going over the river Styx. So there's something going on here with these big patterns, like a strong hero being trapped. This is like in the olden days we had this on the square that people were stuck in Swedish it calls skampåle. I don't know the name in English, but it's to humiliate someone so they won't do the same thing again. And here is the Six of Swords, so this is like coming to some kind of conclusion. So it seems like our hero will be in some way humiliated, but will understand something out of this situation. So it won't feel comfortable. You will feel unsettled, but eventually you will understand more because of this, what happened to you. Okay, so I will read the King of Pentacles card. It's the central card, so all eyes on you, Taurus. King of Pentacles. There. This king enjoys the warm physical pleasures of heart and home. He represents a man truly at home in the world of matter. He enjoys life and the pleasures of the natural world. He is often successful and wealthy, having created a strong financial base through consistent and cautious investment in time, energy, and money. Beneath his often conventional exterior, he is sensual and passionate and makes a devoted partner. Generous and patient, he exudes a sense of contentment and satisfaction with his life, his home, and his family. A lover of fine food, earthy humor, sport, and physical pleasures, he knows how to combine knowledge with practicality and achieve his goals. A man of integrity, he is reliable and courageous, valuing the land and all the good things that success in life brings. And in this, with this deck, I don't do reversals. Reversals is more accurate, but we can see with this Seven of Swords and the Pearl that you're not maybe fully at home with everything like this. I can see some of you might be having problems with economy, for example, but it's just about your self-esteem. So when you fix that and kind of go through this with the self-acceptance thingy and all this, that problem will be gone. You might you can check out some book with money, law of attraction also. I said this to some of the other signs that when I was young, like 18 or 19 years old, I stamped all my bills with the more I give, the more will return. The more I will receive, or something like that. And I had a big sun also on it, and it actually changed my whole pattern of dealing with money. Before, I was scared every time I was to pay my bills because I earned less than what, like, underneath the existential like what you need to exist. So I didn't have enough money to really pay my bills. But during this process with working with this, I look forward to pay my bills, and I also by miraculous events got enough money to pay my bills. Not like big miraculous events, but small, like money coming back from the IRS that I didn't expected, and things like this. So it just turned out great, and I have really not had money problems since then. I'm still feeling happy when paying my bills. Like it's something funny that I'm looking forward to, and that I feel grateful for the things that I have received for this money I pay. So it's just to turn the energy around. The card can represent a person in the reading, and it can suggest also that you will experience an improvement in your finances or material circumstances. It can also indicate that the steady progress and success of a business, project, or career. In other circumstances, the card might symbolize traditional established organizations or professions. So it can be your place of work also, but it's most likely you. And we have this also, this beautiful pentacles on his head here. So it's almost like looking like a saint or a so what I'm thinking is also martyrdom. If you see this in other people, it might also exist within you. Like you feel like you are a victim for circumstances, but really you are not. You just need to change your own view on things, and like accept yourself better. So then you don't become the victim to the circumstance, because you give yourself justice. Okay, so I will also take a card from the Sacred Rebels Oracle from you for you, Taurus. Okay, fate in the process, and we can also see that it's fate here. And this little bird, the little bird here, it's a robin. I don't know if it's exactly the same bird because it's black and white there, but the robin is a bird that kind of tried to help Jesus when he hanged on a cross. He tried to take the thorns out of his head, but ended up wounding himself, is what the legend says. Oh, now I did this all wrong. Okay, so I will find the interpretation for this card. 32. So, no matter how powerful we are, how much courage and strength we have, strength card, there are times when we can't quite move ourselves along to the next phase of life or creative exploration. At such time, we need some divine intervention, a little help in pulling our trolley along, so to speak. When we are at the edge of our limits and have no more personal resources, we might be left with only one spiritual power, and that is fate. Fortunately, that is enough. As unlikely as it may seem, the invisible help from the universe is often more powerful than the physical efforts of 1,000 men. That is because the invisible help is not limited by physical laws. It can shift, bend, and move in ways that defy limitation. It can affect, evoke, and influence situations through invisible but undeniably persuasive means. You are in a situation where you cannot set right the course of events all by yourself. There is not an indication that you have done something wrong, nor does this suggest that you are not strong enough. It is a sign that there is something bigger unfolding in your life, and your willpower will be supplemented by the power of life itself. Sometimes a bigger plan needs to manifest for the benefit of humanity and the earth. You need to shift your perspective to realize that you are a part of a greater unfoldment of life, that your individual life serves the greater plan, and that you are not separate from its genius. This is what is happening now. You happen to be instrumental to the greater plan, and as such, you need to accept your position and be moved, while also being empowered and protected as you make personal progress through your role in that grander scheme. So it might be something with money for some of you, that you are working very hard on some project. We see worries here with maybe the project, but you're still working on it. And when you also go through this personal growth and these going through these blockages, so even if you feel like the most heavy resistance right now, as soon as you come to the breaking point, it's like you're and as soon as you come here, it will be a roller coaster ride down. Okay, so it's like you need to come to a certain point of evolution or healing before things will really hit off in the way you want it financially. It might also be with love or commitment. Maybe you want to marry someone, but they don't answer your request or they don't seem to want to commit, and you are waiting, but then you kind of say, you kind of put a boundary towards that and say, I'm not going to wait anymore, I'm going to fix this for myself. So we'll see where it goes. Okay. Yes. Yes, okay, while also being empowered and protected as you make personal progress through your role in that grander scheme. This is a time for humility and trust. You need complete faith in the process and events that are happening. There is nothing to worry about. You will be moved most fully and easily and with the most grace and assistance through your faithful surrender. Ironically, it is through complete surrender in total faith that we become the most empowered. So it's like giving up your guns, but not with boundaries. It's more like maybe you are fighting too hard against something that's not really there anymore. It's if you are so wounded here, you might be traumatized from something in the past, but really you are on the brink of just healing, and then you can forget about it all and move on in a much more healthy way. So it's this kind of surrender, maybe to not be so binded by the past anymore, and see that it has all shifted. One day it will all have shifted, and something is totally new. You just need to adjust yourself to this newness. You might have asked for it, for this change, but when it comes, it might be that you're not really ready for it, and that you still have the mindset of the old in some way. When we are no longer trying to impede the perfection of the greater plan, we can be aligned with and moved by the process, having faith in the benevolence of life rather than harboring the suspicious that life is seeking to catch us out, have a joke at our expense, or carelessly toss us about as though we meant nothing. Then we can relax a little. Having faith in the process gives you space to be curious about what is taking place and to relax enough to be open to what we are most in need of, even if we aren't exactly sure what that is or how it can happen. The guidance from this oracle comes direct from the greatest source of life itself. There is now an opportunity for you to be moved from the situation you are currently in to the next chapter in your life story. You can't do it on your own. It is too big a shift. It needs to be the grace of life that intervene on your behalf. You will need faith, though. You may feel as though the wheels of your trolley are coming off, or that they are a bit rickety, but you must also understand that the voice of life is now coming straight to your heart with this message. I have resources you know not of. It is safe to trust in my ways and in my wisdom, for I love you and I'm guiding you into all that is rightfully yours. Know that what is rightfully yours is what your heart truly desires, and you need to not fear loss. Nothing that is meant to come to you will be denied, and it's safe for you to let go and allow me to move you. Through faith, peace is restored, and you are able to know this, and perhaps have some fun in the process. So I also got some glimpse of this with the reconciliation, that if you can't accept a reconciliation because the person hasn't grown enough, or you haven't grown enough, or you can't forgive them, or you are fearful that the situation will repeat, it's safe to let this situation go. If they still belong to you, the situation will return eventually. So that can be the kind of faith you need to show, that if the situation you have, the relationship you have, the work you have doesn't work, there might be, if you feel this conviction that you need to let it go, you let it go, and you can be safe to know that something else will come in its place. Okay, so you won't be abandoned, you won't be without resources. Okay, my dear Taurus, I hope this helped. I want you to take really, really good care, and I also want to say how grateful I am for all of you watching, liking, subscribing, and commenting to my videos. I am very, very grateful. And even though I try to make shorter spreads, for example, to downsize my own workload, it has nothing to do with you. I'm just trying, my readings are starting to become freakishly long, and I'm doing the best I can to control that. But the divine has clearly another plan, since I aimed to 30 minutes and this is 48, soon 50 minutes. Okay, so I'm struggling with my things and you're struggling with yours. And I want to also welcome you back to my next reading that I will perform in the beginning of July. Okay, bye-bye.